out that you have an allergy or an intolerance. And there is actually a difference between an allergy and an intolerance, and I talk about that in my cookbook. Perhaps you have to avoid dairy or wheat. Perhaps you have to avoid gluten. Actually, 1 in 133 people are celiac, which means they have to avoid gluten. And I address all of that in my cookbook. All my recipes in my cookbook avoid common allergens like wheat, dairy, yeast, corn, eggs, gluten, and most are nut-free as well. So they are all addressed in my cookbook. But I'm finding that people that don't have allergies are appreciating the recipes as well in my cookbook. They're healthy, they're tasty, they're easy to make. A lot of people wonder what to substitute when they have to avoid certain foods. So I have a chapter in my cookbook as well on alternatives and substitutes. So if you do have to avoid dairy or wheat, you're wondering, what can I possibly use instead of these? How do I make my favorite chocolate cake without eggs and dairy? All those questions are answered in my cookbook. If later on you know of someone that may benefit from the cookbook, it is available at Chapters, a lot of the independent book stores in Ottawa, available online from the publisher, which is General Store Publishing House. I also have a company called Delicious Alternatives, and that's where I consult with people who have just found out that they have food allergies or a food intolerance. Perhaps they have to reduce their sugar or their sodium content in their food, and they come to me sort of after they've been to the doctor or the dietitian or the naturopath with this list of foods they need to avoid, and they think, what do I eat now? So I sit down with them and I help them to menu plan, come up with ideas. I customize recipes for people according to what foods they can eat. We talk about perhaps new foods that you've never even thought of that you can incorporate into your diet. One of them I'm going to be featuring in the recipe today is hemp. But there are other foods, grains like quinoa, teff, millet, these sorts of foods that sometimes we're not really aware of. You know, we go into the grocery store and we do our shopping and we go down the same aisle and we sometimes forget about what all the other alternatives are. And I have a whole chapter dedicated in my cookbook about alternatives, about lentils, grains, some of the gluten-free grains that you can use. I feature recipes for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, for snacks, and of course my most favorite, desserts. I have the favorite type of comfort foods, shepherd's pie, stews, veggie soups, but then I have different kind of recipes. Hemp, which is one we're going to be featuring today, quinoa pancakes. They are the lightest, fluffiest pancakes I've ever tasted. When I was putting my cookbook together and I was tasting and trying different recipes, I'd invite my friends and family over, and thank goodness they still are my friends and family, to taste test. And you know, they were amazed at, with all these different grains and how you can combine them, how tasty they are. I had a woman phone me last week who purchased my cookbook for her daughter who had food allergies, and she phoned me and she said, you know, my daughter loves your cookbook, she's got lots of allergies, now she has lots of options. She said, I don't have any food allergies, and she said, I'm looking at one of your recipes, it's the sweet potato muffins. And I said, yes, and she said, I can eat eggs, I can eat regular wheat flour, white flour. I said, okay, take my recipe and put in your regular flour, put in an egg, it'll make it a little bit lighter and fluffy, and see how it turns out, let me know. And she called me back and she said, it was great. So she said, now my daughter can have her version and I can have my version. And you know, that's what I did. I wanted the cookbook to appeal to those who had food allergies and those who didn't. Many times in a family, one person will have an allergy and nobody else does. And it's no fun making 3 or 4 different meals. So I wanted it to appeal to those that had allergies and didn't. Today, I'm going to feature one of the recipes from my cookbook. I call it hemp ice. Originally, I was going to call it hemp ice cream, but I thought, you know what, the connotation of ice cream is smooth, creamy, dairy, and I thought, no, that won't work. So I call it hemp ice. Yesterday, I did this cooking demo, and someone came up to me and she said, you know, I make your hemp ice, and she said, I don't even freeze it. I just put it in the fridge, and I eat it sort of like a yogurt. She said, I love it. I said, that's great. I have 2 recipes in my cookbook for hemp ice. Today I'm going to make for you the chocolate coconut banana hemp ice. Very decadent. In the summer I like to make a fruit hemp ice. So whatever is local. If strawberries are in season, I make a strawberry hemp ice. If peaches are in season, I do that. It's very simple, only a few ingredients. Anybody can make it. Serve it to yourself or your guests and they're going to love it. We're featuring hemp today, hemp seed. I'm not too sure if you are familiar with hemp seed. No, it's not the stuff you smoke, but it is part of the same family. It's called hemp seed or hemp nut. And I'm going to get my sister actually to pass around a package just so that you can get an idea if you don't know what it looks like or what it is. This is actually locally grown. We are at Go Green Expo. Part of it is learning how to lower our carbon footprint. So let's buy locally. Let's support our local farmers. And Mayhem is a company that grows hemp seed in Lanark. And he very graciously gave me a couple of packages that I could pass around. He also makes a hemp energy bar, which he's given me some demos that I've cut up, and after the session you can come up and give them a try. I do have the list of ingredients in case anybody here does have food allergies. I can give you the list of ingredients, so that was really nice of him. If you'd like more information about the hemp bars or where he is located, you can visit his website at mayhembar.com. You can look at the package afterwards.